Brilliant. So welcome everybody to our webinar this morning. I'm just going to move the chat and let Richard keep an eye on that in case any questions come up. For those of you that don't know me, I am Sally. I'm Head of Partnerships at Much Loved, and I'm joined this morning by one of our wonderful account managers, Richard Baker, who is in sunny Surrey. So this morning I am just going to, so we're recording the session. So for those, that's for the purposes of those who cannot join us, or if you would like to watch it back again, then you would be most welcome to do that. It will be available on our support site in a couple of days' time, usually. So let me just share my screen. So this morning we're going to be talking about advanced training. I should say if you've got any questions at all, then please pop them in the chat box, which has been fantastic that you've already had a go at using. There is a Q&A section as well, but only Richard and I can see those questions that go in there. So we find it's much more beneficial to use the chat box because then everybody can see what you're asking. So let's get going. So these are
just a little bit of expectation, probably about 30 minutes. We'll try and get it all wrapped up by 10 for you.
Yeah, perfect. So in today's session, we're going to look at some of the functionality that maybe you don't usually use or you haven't particularly noticed. We're going to be looking at the settings and then the advanced settings. So we're going to be looking at the back end of the tribute and how you can make corrections if you do make any errors. We'll also kind of touch on the reporting area, and Richard's going to take you through a kind of very practical demonstration of how to set up a tribute page and then use all the extra bits and pieces of functionality available. So also, if you've got your mobile phone handy, that would be great because we can show you the effectiveness of adding a QR code onto the order of service. So just a little breakdown of what we're going to do. I won't read you through all of them, but we'll reiterate on how to access help and support. And we do have a fantastic support team who are available 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, through a variety of means, a chat box, email, and over the phone. And Richard's going to talk you through the funeral announcement creation, sharing the page through a variety of different ways, interacting on the pages through lighting a candle or adding an order of service. And also we'll talk you through how to make the amendments and the other bits and pieces that are listed. So I am going to hand you over to Richard, who is going to show you how to set up a tribute page and also all the other bits and pieces like QR codes and SMS and email. So over to you, Richard.
Okay, one sec. Let's just see if this is all nice and seamless.
There'll be a bit of trickery as we share screens between us.
There we are. Are you seeing my partner area, Sally?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Brilliant. Okay. Look, yeah, welcome everyone. But everyone has the same partner area. I know there are some out there that are using our integrated solutions, and that's great. But behind the integrated solution is your partner area. So we do encourage you to become familiar with this. It's the same for everyone else. You all have a very similar looking partner area. And we've also got our much loved our M-Level website here displaying all our funeral notices, and we will sort of show you how they display on your site. Now, I appreciate for a lot of you on the call today, this could be slightly cold to Newcastle, so I will whiz through the creation process quite briefly. If you do have any questions, do fire away. If you do want any further help, don't ever hesitate to get in touch. We can give the support team a call on the number down there below. If you click on that link, you can send them an email if you so wish, with some detail in it. And you can also access our support and training site from this link as well. The training site contains all the videos that we've ever done, and you can find out how to do a lot of things we're going to talk about today on that site. You can also go meet the team and find out more resources that are available to you. So that's available down there on the support site. So give us a call. Failing that, if you're the shy retiring type and prefer a bit of live chat, the little speech bubble there will give you access to the live support chat functionality. We can see Ella there waiting for your call. Okay, so we just go back to tributes. So hopefully most of you know how to do this. There will be a few of you out there that don't, but to create a tribute, very, very simple and straightforward. Click on the create a tribute button, and we're just going to fire through a quick tribute. This one's going to be to a gentleman called Peter Roberts. Also, you can add a middle name, obviously a nickname. If Peter was better known as Pete, you can use that. We can genderize him appropriately. He was a male. He passed away just last week on Sunday. Now, the first little bit of trickery I can show you, if you don't want to just type in the date of birth, there's no obligation to put in this detail, by the way. The only compulsory information is a first name and a surname. But if you don't want to put in the, type in the date, month and year, if you click on the little calendar icon and then click on the month, it will actually then give you the entire year, so 2023. Click on the year, it will then give you the decade. And if you click on it again, you have access to all sort of century details there. So we'll say Peter, in this case, was born in 1954 in May, and may the force be with him. Okay, I have the ability to obviously upload a picture at this stage, but this can be uploaded at a later date. So this could be the order of service picture. I can just drag and drop it from my files now as well. And we all know by now that those words of tribute can always be altered and changed. Always that basic message does get added though. So that's it. Basic details about the deceased have been completed. Save and continue. And second section about the funeral. We've got 3 preset titles that you can use, but feel free to use your own. This will be a celebration of Peter's life, and the funeral will take place very optimistically tomorrow. It will take place at 10 in the morning, and I've got my list of locations here. This is going to take place at Bristol Crematorium. Now, you know, if your location isn't there, or you've only just started with us, just put in your the venue name, put in the address, do a search, and then the next time you come to use the Much Love platform, that will then be in your list there, and that will grow and grow and grow. So you only have to put the information in just once. We can make the service private. Obviously, that will then display the tribute on your website so people can donate if necessary, but it will keep the details off the site. In this case, we will make it public, and you also have the ability, you may not know this, but to insert different phrases. I will just use the suggested message here, but you can use links to your website, etc. So I'll just put in the suggested message. The other thing to show you here is, and I know a lot of you are doing this, you can add a webcast link. To do that, you can simply copy and paste the Obitus link, or Wesley, the Wesley Group Media, or whichever webcast you're using. The important thing to remember is, though, when you're putting the information in, so put in www.obitus.com, make sure you hit return or enter, and it will turn the link blue and underline it. That will then create the hyperlink, and that will actually be available to click on via your phone or via desktop if people want to watch it at home. We can also put in information here about any clothing that's required, if it's bright clothing, and if there's a particular route it's following, we can add that information in there. Final section on this page, as we all know, this is all about floral instructions and any donation instructions. Oops, where are we? Now, this would, a message might read, in lieu of flowers, online donations to selected charity, or all flowers welcome, donations to Peter's charity. Just for expediency, I won't open these up, but the committal and reception details, they just give you access to further maps and further locations, and you can add those details in.
Oh, so I'm going to just interrupt you, Rich, because Monique's just asked a question about whether you can add in random funeral times. So yeah, you can add whatever time you like in. You just need to put your cursor in the time section, and then you can overtype our pre-suggested times.
So it's actually happening at 5 minutes past 10. So good question, that's absolutely fine. Save and continue. Charity section, again, you're all fairly well versed with this. Very easy to add a charity, and we can process funds for any UK charity, no restriction on size. We've got our sort of demonstration charity here. You can add as many charities as you so wish. You can repeat that step over and over again. And if the charity isn't in the listing, you can add its details here. Alternatively, give the office a call and they can add that in for you. So no restriction there. And also you do have the ability, I will click on it, you have the ability to add some specific details. Now, it's most charities, or some charities, will accommodate specific detail, some won't, but you can put information in here maybe about a ward of a hospital. It could be a branch of the RNLI or a particular branch of a particular hospice group. So you do have the ability to try to change or to accommodate special requests. And we also do have the ability to add other fundraising. So if someone's doing fundraising via another platform, so it could be Crowdfunder, it could be Just Giving, it could be maybe a church has set up a donate bit of functionality for repairs to the church roof. All you would do is put in the fundraising name, the repair fund of St. Peter's St. Paul's, brief description what it's all about, and then here you would just put in the www link, the URL link. Okay, now just cancel that. And you notice once I have added a charity, a donations contact is, or a request for a donations contact is added. Oh, again, for expediency, I won't add this information in, but all we're after here is some basic details of the next of kin. Now, this information is passed onto the charity, so the charity can send them a letter or email of thanks. One caveat there is, or sorry, one exclusion is that they're only allowed to contact that family member or that person just for that method. There's no ongoing request for further fundraising through that. This is also the first time you can make this person the tribute guardian being the co-owner of the site, and they will have full editorship rights of the page. You can do it later on, but that you can make that person the tribute guardian. An email that is sent from Much Loved to let them know how to start utilising the page. So we'll just skip that for now. Now, Peter, we know during the arrangement was a football fan, so I can use one of our sporting themes to reflect his life. We've got about 250 here, so I can select that. Now, anything we do, we can change at a later date. But there we go, that's the tribute all done. 4 steps complete, read our finishing flag, and we can then complete the tribute. You get reverted back, as you know, to your starting point. So there's the tribute we've created for Peter. If I go onto our website, just refresh the page, we'll see Peter's page is there on your website. Okay, so all fairly standard up until now. The basic page has been created. Now, what I'm going to do is just run you through some of the functionality as promised, what you might not have seen. You have the ability to share the page now via SMS. So if the family have supplied you with a mobile number, you can simply enter that mobile number in here. They will receive a text, and they can then share that page onwardly, sort of in WhatsApp groups, that kind of thing. Now, the other thing that you can do is to download a QR code. If I just click on the QR icon here, you'll see that there's 2 QR codes, one with a little logo in it. We have a small problem with some of the ones that have logos, and if it's too large, it can remove too much of the QR code. So we've got one with the logo in and a naked one. You can download that QR code, add it into the appropriate funeral file, so in this case Peter Roberts, and then what you can do with that QR code is add it to the back of the order of service, and then that order of service can then be added to the tribute page. So I'm just going to, we've got we've got this page here to Valerie. There's Valerie's tribute page on your tribute page on your website. Back into the partner area. If I want to upload that order of service, just click on the little plus button, and I can just drag and drop a PDF in there, and that has now been added to the order of service. So this is where, if you've got your phones handy, grab your phone, point it at the screen there, and imagine yourself being one of the mourners at the funeral. And he says, just trying to unlock his phone. Now you should find that if all being well, points at the screen.
Popping up on mine.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And there we are. So she's jumped onto my phone. I can use that then to make a donation. I can upload any pictures. I can upload videos directly onto her tribute page. If I go back to your website or back to our website, again, just refresh the page, you'll see that there's been a link to that order of services being added to your website. Okay, the other thing you can do, you may or may not know, you can light candles on behalf of the funeral director. So a little candle icon, add a candle, maybe one that burns for a couple of weeks, a tribute candle. We'll do it just in brown, and this is going to be all at Lovell, and add that candle. That's now been added to her tribute, and we can see that's then introduced onto her ticker. Okay, so that's the first sort of level of sort of additional functionality that I wanted to quickly show you through. So you've got SMS, QR code, candle, and the order of service. Just one other thing to mention as well, you have the ability to add the owner, the tribute owner at this stage as well. I've obviously added mine myself here to Valerie's, but you would just simply add the owner there. And just one thing to point out as well, you'll notice that her book is her funeral notice book is green. That means it's an open funeral. The one below it to Margaret has been closed. And what that means, if I just open up Margaret's page, so her page still exists, but what we've done, our closure, our sense of closure is slightly different to yours. We just remove the funeral details from the home page and the prominent link to the funeral director website. It does still exist down here on the bottom left, the link back to your site. And the funeral notice has been archived into the galleries. The rationale is that if the family wish to continue using the page after the funeral, they're not going to be confronted with the funeral every time they open the page. But the links do still exist. So that's the sort of high level part of the settings. I think I'm going to hand you back now to Sally in a seamless manner, and who will then show you some of the additional settings that you have available to you.
Okay, it might not be as seamless as you had once hoped. Hold on a second. Marvelous. Okay, so you should be able to see my M. Lovell and Son partner area. So we can see the new tribute that Richard set up. And what I'm going to do is click on this settings button here, and I'm going to have a look at Valerie's tribute settings. So this section of your partner area essentially allows you to make all sorts of changes to the underlying tribute page without you actually having to go into the tribute page. So the first thing that we can see here is we need to make a little change to the title of this tribute because Valerie's name doesn't have a capital on it. So we can just click on edit, and then we can make our amendment and save changes, and then that will appear on your website and on the underlying tribute page. If for whatever reason you need to change the managing branch of the tribute, then you can do. It's useful to have, if you're coming from an organisation that has got multiple branches, then it probably is useful to allocate the right tribute to the right branch, so that you can cross-reference that with the number of funerals you're doing to see how effectively you're using the product. You can change the tribute owner, although there is a shortcut to do that on the first screen. And then if you want to make any amendments to the actual funeral notice page, you can do that from here. So you can just click on Add Edit Notice, and you'll see it takes us back to a very familiar screen, the screen that Richard talked us through when he was setting up the funeral notice in the first place. So, you know, maybe there's no funeral time, so maybe we need to go back in and add that in. And if you just make any changes, just make sure you click Save at the bottom. Other situations, maybe the family have decided to want to add on the reception details, so you can go back in and add those in as well. So you can see at the moment there's nothing in the committal or the reception details. And if it's not, you know, if the activity that's happening isn't called a committal or reception, you can just change the title of those by over typing them. That's no problem at all. So really easy to add those details in. Just make sure you click Save when you do that. So I'm just going to come back out of that section. So other bits and pieces that you can do here as well is, Richard mentioned the closing of the funeral. So if you don't want to wait for that to happen automatically, which normally happens 70 days after the funeral, you can push that forward by just clicking on the Close Funeral button there. You've seen how the QR and SMS text sharing works, but if you want to share information about this tribute page on your corporate fundraising page or your corporate Twitter page, then you can do from there as well. The other bit that I wanted to show you is the donation section. And you'll probably notice that once donations start to appear on the funeral notice, then these reports automatically show. Now, these are a really fantastic and very useful bit of functionality. They allow you to be able to send a report to your family at the end of your donation period. And if I just click on View, you'll get a sense of what that looks like. So it gives you a summary of the donations that have been collected. There's no online donations collected on this, just because this is through our demo site. And you can also, so you can just see the offline donations have been collected. But if you whiz down to the second page, you can see exactly who those donations have been left by. So maybe an offline donation view might be if you've collected some cash and checks at the actual funeral, and then other people have made online donations, and it will clearly separate those out. So that report can be just viewed like that. You can download it and it will download into a PDF file, or you can email it to yourself. It will automatically send the email to whichever email address you've logged into Much Loved with. So that's really useful bit of functionality. And if you want to add offline donations, then just click Manage Donations and then click Add Offline Donation there. You can add and remove charities. Takes you back to a very familiar page that we looked at with Richard. But the other bit of functionality I wanted to show you is the charity payments. Now, this doesn't have any information in it, again, because we're looking at our demonstration site, and we can't make any online donations on the real site. But you can see here that you'd be able to see which charities are due to receive donations, what date we paid them across, or whether there's a pending payment. And then you'll receive more information about when that donation has been paid. So do have a look at one of the funeral notices that has received donations, and remember that we transfer the donations around the 15th of the month for donations collected in the previous month. So donations collected in March were transferred over yesterday. So it's whatever kind of working date that's closest to the 15th that they get transferred over on. But you'll be able to see that in action if you look at a tribute page that's got some donations attached to it. And that just helps you to be more transparent with your families and give them a true and accurate information about when donations have been transferred across. So I think that's a sort of super useful bit of functionality on there. Other bits and pieces under the tribute info. So this allows you to make changes to the deceased information. So first name, family name, the URL address of the tribute page. You can also access like the home word page, page wording. You could upload photos on behalf of the family if you want to, and you can add, edit contributions as well. So rather than me going into this kind of detail, because we are kind of getting short of time, I would urge you to have a look at this section yourself. So just have a play around with it when you've got a few minutes and get yourself familiar with it. If you need any additional support or training, you know, you've got your contact details there, so you can get in touch with us. But I'm just going to hand you back to Richard, who's going to have a quick look at the advanced settings tab here. And he will probably much more swiftly turn us over to his screen and show you just how you can access the kind of back end settings on the actual tribute page. So I'm just going to answer a couple of, should I answer? There's a couple of questions.
Okay.
Should I answer those?
Yeah, I thought I'd just sort of press on, because I am conscious that we could be pushing people's time here. So yeah, I'm going to have a quick look at the advanced settings. We often get questions about whether people can amend certain comments or certain content of a page, and yes, you can. I will stress the easiest thing might be to actually pick up the phone and just give us a quick call, but you can do this yourself. If we go to Valerie's page here, I've added a comment from her rather sort of bitter ex-husband, who Reg, and he's left a rather sort of nasty comment on there. So we want to get rid of that. It isn't appropriate. So yes, you can do that. It's in Valerie Murdoch's settings, and then you then have to go down, scroll to the bottom of the settings section, and you want to click on the advanced settings. And I would encourage you to have a bit of an explore in here. We could be here all day, but yeah, if you want to, you can change things like the wing design. You can change the theme. Here we call these two sides of the wings. I can change the background wing colors from forget-me-nots to forget-me-nots black. I can change them to, well, let's change it to a cloud. I can also change the sort of the coloration of those clouds. So I can sort of turn them red if I wish. So lots of functionality there. But what we're looking at in this case, we want to remove Reggie's comment. If I click on content, this gives you access to everything that's been added to the page. So this was actually a thought by the embittered Reg. And there it is, there's the comment, and I can simply remove that comment. So that thought has now gone. If I go to her website, sorry, if I go to her page, we can see that has disappeared. Her good friend Barbara, there's actually another typo here. It should be "Dear Valerie, missing you loads." So again, just in the settings, I can then just click on the message, and I can amend dead to dear. Oops, edit, and then just amend that and save those changes, so that Barbara's comment is now a bit more appropriate. So we could be here for many months of Sundays, but do feel free to explore that advanced settings. You can change lots of things. There's probably not much need on a sort of day-to-day basis to come into here. You can do things like altering the contribution settings. It might be that the family don't want pictures being added. You can exclude pictures, you can exclude music, any other parts of the functionality. Just click on pictures and that will just remove it. You can sort of allow people to not see the page. You can keep it private and that kind of thing. So there's lots and lots of functionality deep within the advanced settings here, if you feel the need to go into there. high level settings, where Sally's been spent a bit of time, that's to remember, that's to fix sort of typos and things on typo mistakes on the page. And we think the most popular common bits of settings we pulled out from that background part and added them in here, because we think these are probably the most valuable part. But hopefully that is all okay for you. If anyone's got any questions, I know there's a few sort of bubbling up now.
Yeah, I'm sure we just have a look. So Ruth's asked if donations are 100% or do we take a percentage? So Ruth, we do take a percentage. There is a much loved administration fee, which is 3.2%, and then there's a payment processing fee, which is 1.9 plus 20p. There has to be a processing fee because it costs us to run the service, so there has to be some kind of processing fee. Rena's asked if there is a way to upload your own themes. There isn't, I'm afraid, but obviously you can upload whatever pictures the family would like onto their tribute page. The themes have to be preset because there is some work required to make sure that they look good across all different browsers and that they integrate into the templated system. Drew, you've asked if there are any plans to introduce open banking, which I presume is for the supporters to make a donation through open banking. Not to my knowledge, but it's certainly something that we can bring up with our technical team. I think it depends on whether the processing service that we use offers it. John has asked whether removing the comment, will that stop future comments from the same person? Unfortunately, it won't, but we can remove the user if necessary.
You can block that user.
Yeah.
From so if you remove the comment, they can still make future comments, but you can block that individual another stage. To do that, the easiest way would be to contact us at Much Loved, and we can do that for you.
Perfect, excellent. So I think that's all the questions. So the very very quickly, because we are slightly running over, is I just wanted to show you, I'm just going to get rid of all the chats off my screen.
Oh, there is a question actually from Deb White as well that came in the Q&A.
Oh yeah, that's about blocking, so you've answered.
Yeah, can you block it? Yes, you can block people, yeah.
So just the final section, under reports, you've got, do have a look, and have a look under the explore the new reporting area, because these old reports will cease to exist at some point in the near future. But just have a look at the new reporting area. It essentially just reports back on the number of tributes that have been created through your system and the amount raised through the donations that have been collected through those pages. So you just get an overview in the first screen, and then you can see you've got a number of different reports. So you can see tributes by branch. So if you've got multiple branches, you can see how many have been set up. And if you want to drill that down to view information month by month, then you can use the filter system here, and you can also set up to receive regular reports for that particular information if you want to, by clicking on the schedule button. You can also see how people are using the tribute pages, whether they're just for donations or whether people are adding videos and thoughts and stories. You can see how much has been raised per branch, and then this is one of my favorite reports, because you can see how much has been raised per cause. And I should imagine that if you all looked at these reports, particularly the funds raised by cause, you'd probably see your local hospice appearing quite highly. So it creates an opportunity for for you to engage with that particular charity. Maybe you can do some joint publicity around the amount that has been raised, or maybe you just want to do some publicity around the total that you've raised for all charities through your tribute pages. So, do have a look at the data. I think, it can be very useful for lots of organisations to have a look at. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, I can see a couple of people have raised their hands. Jill, well, I think John Potts, we've hopefully answered your question, if that's what it was. But Claire Eames, Jill Beams, if you can just ask the question in the chat, is an easier way of asking any question.
Perfect. And then just whilst you're having a moment to do that, if you do want to access that training and support site that we've talked about a couple of times, if you just go into your partner area, click on manage, and then scroll down to training and support. And Richard, I think, is going to put a link into the chat so that you can click on that. And then just finally, the session that we're running this morning, we called it a module, and we keep a copy of all of the previously recorded modules on the support chat, on the support site. And Richard will give you a link to where they are held, because there's a lot of information in there, so can be a little bit tricky to find things, although the search criteria on there is really useful and does work very well. And then just a quick plug for our next module, which is on Tuesday, the 3rd of May at 9:30. So we always do them on a Tuesday morning and always at 9:30, because hopefully it's the most convenient time for yourselves. And we'll be talking about how you can make, we'll be talking about the difference that a tribute can make to your families, and also we'll be available to answer any questions that you might have on the service. So thank you very much for joining us. Sorry that we overran a little bit. Any questions, do get in touch with us. Richard's email's there, or you can also email us at support, and our lovely support team will get back to you. Oh, sorry, I was just going to put the support email address in the, I seem to be messing around with them.
Look, hopefully that was useful for everyone. If there is anyone that does want to come down for a, you know, if you're new and you haven't used the system before and that was all a little bit quick, drop me an email, drop your account manager an email, and we can arrange some training for you. Any further questions, just give us a call.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, everybody.